Hello, really quick one today, given that the Fed is back in the news, having extended their prohibition on share buybacks for banks with more than $100 billion in assets. Now, the big question for me was, are the banks, in fact, involved in this repurchase game? And it turns out they are. And if you look at the big four here, Citi, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you can see that they have been players over the last 7 years. And in fact, that their participation has been steadily increasing over the last few years. Now, another place we might look in terms of, is this a warranted concern by the Fed would be, what's the market telling us? Are there any issues with these banks? Now, if the share price is any indication, then I would argue, yes, the market is saying there is some issue here in terms of, there are some concerns with all of the big four being down by at least 30%. Of course, our perennial favorite unethical player here, Wells Fargo, is down the most at 56%. I've commented on that many times before. You can check out this video here for one of my latest comments on their unethical behavior. Maybe I'm right in that unethical behavior does not pay off over the long run. Of course, there could be lots of other variables involved here. Now, from an intuitive perspective, I would argue that banks, but just the companies in general, should be buying back shares when prices are low, given kind of their current state. Maybe it isn't now is a good time, but in fact, the evidence shows that banks typically buy back the most shares at their peaks and not at the troughs, as you would intuitively think they would want to do. So maybe there isn't that concern here now because that just isn't the historical pattern. Now, of course, the big concern is their underlying loan books, right? Now, this data is a little bit old, but doesn't change my argument. If you look at the underlying categories here, commercial loans, residential mortgages, credit card loans, et cetera, for every single one of these examples, given the state of the economy, we can only expect that there's going to be a higher than normal delinquencies, higher than normal defaults, and that future profits will be going, oh, I think I was just hacked by these big banks. Hopefully you know where I was going with that. Finally, let me just say that I have been very critical of the Fed, but in this case, I have definitely seen worse ideas. This one doesn't bother me as much. If you want to check out all of my criticisms on the Fed and central banks in general, you can check out all of these posts here for your viewing pleasure. Thanks so much. We'll talk again soon.